Hello everybody and welcome back to another Pokemon News Weekly Update. I'm Rob. We are presented by The Game House and I am your Pokemon News reporter, and I am very excited to be talking to you today and giving you guys the down low on what's been happening over the last week for Pokemon. Before we hop into that though, I'm going to ask that you make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the Pokemon content that we have coming out. We've got different Let's Plays, we have tier lists, news reports like this, we're answering questions on a regular basis as well, so make sure that you guys are not missing out on any of that. Also, let me know in the comments section below when you believe that the Nintendo Switch 2 will either A, be coming out, or when we're finally going to be able to get some news about it, because that's what a lot of today's news / leaks / rumors are going to be about. Pokemon themselves have not really come out with a lot of news, so these leaks are pretty important as it's going to be leading into a conversation about Pokemon Legends ZA, so let me know in those comments below what you guys are thinking for the Nintendo Switch 2. So jumping into this, we have Centro Leaks, which generally is like a place that, you know, kind of pulls together all the different leaks that are out there from a lot of different areas, and the first one is that a Chinese insider claims that the Nintendo Switch 2 is getting revealed in January with a March launch date, which would kind of align with what a lot of other people have been saying, but at the same time, we've been hearing this kind of, you know, quarterly release schedule for a long time. A lot of people thought it was going to be Q3, where we would hear something in, like, you know, I don't know, September, and then it would be released in November. That was, I think, the hope near the beginning of the year or sometime late last year. Then it started to look more and more like it was going to go into Q4, right, where it was going to be news in October, release in December. Now we're at January with a release in March. It would make sense. I could totally see that happening, to be honest with you. I think that Nintendo is just kind of looking for the right time to do this, and I think they probably have to align it similarly to how we've been talking about, you know, Pokemon games and Pokemon news are going to have to align with Nintendo Switch 2. All of their different things are going to also have to be, you know, aligned with the games that they're going to be wanting to do on launch. And I have a very distinct feeling that Pokemon Legends ZA is going to be that. With this as well, there's going to be apparently a Pokemon Home update of some kind on the Switch 2, and it's hinting at the different, you know, Gen 10 and some of the DLCs. And we see here that, you know, it's going to be, Pokemon Home is going to be, I think they're calling it Ounce for the Switch 2. And that instead of Grand Oak, we're going to be getting some new character that's going to be a hint towards what Gaia, which is what the code name is for Gen 10, and what the DLCs are going to be like. I really didn't know exactly what all of the numbers were. You can kind of look through this Reddit, you know, chat, I guess, this Reddit board, and see, you know, it looks like some people kind of, you know, figured some things out. Some people are saying it's going to be Bianca from Black and White and Black and White 2, and that, you know, we're going to be getting Black and White remakes that everybody's been looking forward to. I wouldn't be against that, obviously, as well. I love the Black and White games, and I think remakes of them would make a lot of sense, and I think they would play extremely well on the Nintendo Switch. I also think that it would bring it to a generation where we had all the hype for Generation 4, so many people were excited about it, and then Generation 6 was really good and well received as well, right? By a lot of people, I think, especially the more that we look back on it, right? The hindsight of X and Y, but Black and White 2 has also received a lot of love over the last few years, and bringing it to a new generation, I think, would be really good, as it generally is considered to have one of the best stories, if not the best story in all of Pokemon, of the main games specifically. So we're going to be, you know, taking a look at all this, and hopefully with this Pokemon Home update as well, and then getting rid of Grand Oak, bringing in Bianca, that's going to, you know, signify to us that we're going to be getting those Black and White remakes. I would also venture to guess that once this comes out, we will already know that they are doing this. I don't necessarily think that Pokemon Home is going to be the thing that's going to break the news on Black and White remakes. I don't think that... I think it would just be too obvious for them to make that the hint, but because we're seeing this here talk about it for the Nintendo Switch 2, which we believe we're going to be getting news on here in just like a little over a month, that makes me believe that we on Pokemon Day are going to be getting a lot of news, a lot of really big updates, especially as they head and get ready for the 30th anniversary, which will be in 2026. Now we move on to Riddler-Ku, somebody who has apparently been wrong a few times here, but is corroborating that they have heard that, Pokemon Home is either going to get a new feature, a new successor, or new game compatibility, and it will be announced on Pokemon Day, which will, involve apparently every Pokemon being compatible. There have been a few Pokemon who have not made their way over to the Switch yet. I anticipate that we'd probably see them in Legends ZA even, maybe in the Black and White remakes. I would be a little surprised to see that, but again, Riddler-Ku, giving a very different update around the same time that we got this one from the Famaboards update. So you can take, a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt, right? But if there are multiple sources kind of discussing this, generally speaking, unless if they're all either from the same source or Riddler-Ku's just copying this Famaboards source, it tends to make me believe that there's a good chance that we might end up getting this home update. And that, again, I really do believe that on Pokemon Day, we're going to get Black and White news of remakes, either a combination of both of the games or, I don't know, something very interesting with them that I know I'm going to be excited about. The last thing here is we're going to go through what Riddler-Ku is saying for next year. And they're saying, 2025 is the Ikaku year all around. So what this means to me is that in 2025, Ikaku is, I believe, either the code word or something to do with Pokemon Legends ZA, from what I've seen from a lot of other leakers and people who discuss this stuff, and that it's going to be all around, meaning like it's all going to be focused on that. Does that mean that the Black and White remakes are not going to be coming out next year? I'm not entirely sure that that's the case. If they really wanted to, they could push it off to 2026, but I think that that's going to be Generation 10, and I don't think that they necessarily want to take away any of the hype from that game. I think it seems more likely that we'll get Pokemon Legends ZA near the beginning of the year with this Nintendo Switch 2 release date in March. I think that that seems incredibly likely at this point. I even think that it may be a part of the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement, but it would make sense in my mind for them to do a Black and White 2 or a Black and White 1 remake to have out near the end of the year with maybe some DLC as well for Legends ZA. Also, he talks about you would also know something about the Visa stuff on 2/27/25. Looking forward to it now, right? And then I believe it's in this one, responds with, well, would means might. You might also know something about the Visa stuff, which I will be honest with you, I don't really know much about this Visa stuff. I've heard a few people talk about it. They're not even entirely sure what Riddler-Ku is talking about with Visa stuff, but apparently we're going to get more information. Some people believe this might be Pokemon Home. I'm not really convinced on that. I think it might be one of the new games, maybe the multiplayer game that we've been hearing about as well in Pokemon Works. I believe we talked about that on a couple videos ago. So it seems like, Pokemon Day, February 27th, 2025 is going to be a really important one. I think the next two Pokemon Days, 2025 and 2026, are going to be some of the biggest ones that we've had maybe in the last at least 5 years. I know on the 25th anniversary, right, we got Legends Arceus, and that was really big, right? But this one feels like they're doing something massive. 30 years is not a small deal. I can totally see them just going all out. We've had almost 3 years of no Pokemon content, no major, releases for games and everything. So at this point, it would just make sense to me that they're going to really go all out here over the next few years, as a lot of people have been waiting for a while. Also, Ku talks about here, thanks to the irresponsible hackers, our Ikaku 0 now turns into J soon, but it's still before 2/27/25, so not bad, huh? This is the last thing we're going to talk about, because apparently the hackers kind of made everything for Pokemon get pushed back. There have been rumors multiple times that they were planning on doing some sort of trailer, some sort of Pokemon Presents sometime in like I don't know, August, September, October, sometime around there, which, we have theorized in the past on a video that there was supposed to be one because they had been following a pretty strict schedule of in February, we get news from Pokemon Day, and then in August, we would get news about what they talked about on Pokemon Day. Because of the irresponsible hackers, as Q is saying, which makes sense considering they called him out and called him kind of a fraud, to be honest with you. The Ikaku news, I think when he says it goes from 0 or an O, so October, now turns into J, January, which would make sense to me, but it still is before February 27th, 2025. It's not all that bad, right? So I really fully believe that all of this, right, the leaks for the Nintendo Switch, with the announcement coming out in January, with the release in March, makes so much sense. And I have been theorizing for a while on this channel that I really believe that Pokemon Legends ZA is going to be one of the big games that's announced with the Nintendo Switch 2. When Nintendo does this, and when most consoles, are released, right, they will give, a couple really big games, right? Like Halo comes out with Xbox. I don't really know what comes out with PlayStation necessarily. There are a lot of different IPs that do well over there with PlayStation, so I think they release with a few different ones. But, Halo's been the main one for Xbox for a really long time with their new consoles. And with Nintendo, it's generally been a Legends of Zelda or a Super Smash Brothers. I have not heard a single word about a new Super Smash, and we just got a bunch of new content from the Legend of Zelda team over the last few years. So I really don't believe that there's going to be, I guess maybe Metroid, right, might be coming out with the Nintendo Switch as well, but I can't say that I'm super well versed in that. What I am a little more well versed in is Pokemon, and it would just totally make sense. We get more information, potentially even a release date or maybe the starters for Pokemon Legends ZA with a Nintendo Switch 2 launch date getting announced in March. And then we get more information on Pokemon Day about the game, what's going to be happening with it, and potentially the Black and White remakes, the Pokemon Works game that's coming out, and maybe a few other surprises as well. So I don't know. It's a lot of theorizing without a doubt. There's a lot of different puzzle pieces that we're trying to put together, but I think that we're going to have a really fun quarter one, January, February, March for Pokemon content after what has been a very long and dry period outside of Pokemon TCG Pocket. So let me know if you guys think that makes sense. It's a long-winded way to say that all these leaks are leading towards new Nintendo Switch 2 stuff, which will also coincide most likely with Pokemon Legends ZA news. And I fully expect that we may be surprised and get Pokemon Legends ZA either in February or in March, which would be, I think, fantastic. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments section below. But that's going to wrap it up for us on this Pokemon News weekly update. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one.